This is the ClonerAlliance UHD 4K Pro Max. See the little Max there? Now a lot of people will think, well, what's the difference between the Max and the other one that I did? Because I recently did a video on the UHD 4K Pro. So what does this Max have to offer that the Pro doesn't? Well, I found out some interesting things about this device, and I've been testing it for a long time because I wanted to make sure that it could really perform the way that the Max claims it can perform. So if you'd like to learn what I learned, keep watching because you're watching Blue Collar Guy. Okay, we're back. So today we're talking about the UHD 4K Pro Max. What's so special about this device? Well, I've already got it out of the box, and I've also got the UHD 4K Pro right beside it. And on the outside, they look very similar. They almost look identical. However, there's some significant differences between these two devices. We're going to get right into this, and I'm going to show you what the outside differences are, but the big differences are on the inside. Okay, so right now we have both of them hooked up. This is the Max and this is the Pro. So what is the difference between these two devices? They look almost identical. Now, one of the things that I did make a mistake on when I was talking about this device is, if you notice, there's a light here and a light here, and there's also an edge light. These are two different indicators. The top indicator will indicate what your input signal is, and the bottom indicator will indicate what your recording signal is. Like if you're going to be recording something and if you're recording it in 4K or if you're recording it in a different format. And I have the manual here. So it is pretty much the same for both on that issue. If it is stable blue, that means you have a 1080p signal. If it is stable green, then it is a 4K input signal. And if it is doing what it's doing right now, blinking back and forth, it means there's no input signal at all. The same is true on this one. And I wanted to show you that, just to show you that if you did own one of these, that's going to be the same. Now, on the edge lighting, it is also a little bit different. On the edge lighting, which is this guy right here, it also will indicate whether or not you're going to be recording in 4K or you're going to be recording in 1080p. So if you're recording in 4K, then this is going to be green. Then this one will be green. And if you're going to be recording in 1080p, then it's going to be blue. And I hope I got that right now, because I was very upset with myself that I didn't notice that on the first video. Now, this one here has 4K 60 pass-through. It doesn't record in 4K 60. It has 4K 60 pass-through, meaning that you can put a 4K 60 signal into it, but it still records in 4K 30. I almost made a mistake on that, because on the box it almost appears that you can record in 4K 60, but that is not the case. And some people might be disappointed in that. But when I show you the user interface, I think it's going to make up for everything. So when I first seen that, I was a little disappointed that it was recording it. It can only record in 4K 30, but it was a 4K 60 pass-through. So if you were to put a 4K 60 pass-through in the Pro one, this is one right here, it would not accept that signal. We're nice and clear. So it's very difficult to read, but this one says record, start, stop. This one is snapshot, and this one is pause. Again, this is the Max. I just want to make sure make sure you understand which one I'm talking about. And then you've got your infrared, and you've also got your line in, your mic in, and your auxiliary. So you can hook in a different audio source if you wish. Now on the older model, I'm just going to move it up, you've got record, start, stop, you've got snapshot, and you've got H.265 and 264. So this is a different labeled button. 3 buttons. This one has a different use. You have mic, line out, and line in. They're not in the same order. So if I stack them like this, you've got mic, line out, line in. On this one, line in, mic, and auxiliary. Yeah. So this one has H.264, 265. This is the Pro. This is the Max. And this one has pause. So they've changed the function of that button. The H.264, 265 is done on the menu system with the newer one. Now on the older one here, let's bring this in closer, they're using a micro USB to your PC. And then this is your storage, and they're using a USB 2.0 jack instead of a USB 3.0. And there is no micro SD card slot, meaning you can't just plug in a card and use it that way. That's a huge difference. On the back, it is the same thing. Here's your out, here's your in, and these are all in the same place, and there's your power button. And the bottom, very similar, ventilation. So, there is some subtle differences. Let me just zoom out. Now, I've also got to show you the remote controls. So this is the Pro, and this is the Max. Oh yeah. So this one here has got, your typical functionality, because it's got, your record, start, stop is up here, your display, take a snapshot, menu, back, play. This is for your playback. This is for your volume levels, and probably your microphone levels, and this is for your volume levels. Video, image, delete. This one is a lot different. One of the big differences between this remote and this remote is this is a Bluetooth remote. And if you watched my video on this device before, I mentioned that I wanted to see them put a Bluetooth remote on their device. And they did that. Now, this wasn't because of my recommendation. This device was in existence when I did the video on this. So I'm not going to take credit for that, nor should I get credit for that. But it was one of my recommendations. I hadn't seen this device, and that's what I said that I would like to see. And sure enough, they did do that with this remote. It is both Bluetooth and infrared, and that's really cool. So it has snapshot. This is your inputs. It's got the same functionality here. You got your menu, information, back, and they've changed a little bit of the functionality on the volume buttons. And this is like playback, video, image, file. So they've kind of streamlined the way it looks and the way it works. So they made it more intuitive. And that's a big deal, because now we're going to get into what the menu system looks like. And that, to me, was the biggest shocker between these two devices. So if you're in the market for one of these and you aren't sure if you should get this one or this one, I'm going to tell you right now to get the Max, because I like the way it is set up. I like the menu system. I like the functionality of it. It just seems to work a lot smoother. And I'm not saying that this one is horrible or anything like that by any means. I'm just saying that this one is just so much easier to use. So this one's definitely livable, and I've been using it and it works. But I just like this one better. And I'm going to let you be the judge, because I'm going to show you both of them, and then you tell me which one you would pick. And leave that in the comments. But first, we're going to start with the menu system of the UHD 4K Pro. And I'm going to bring that up right now. Here it is here. And I'll put myself in the corner. There we are. So this is the one that I already did a review on. And as you can tell, They've got, it's checking because it doesn't have any memory or anything like that plugged into it. But this is what the menu system looks like. And I need to remove myself really quickly. So if I go and hit the menu button, and it'll have record settings. And if I hit that, it'll tell you the format. And see, this is why they put that on the menu system on the other one. And the reason why they did that is because it wasn't really necessary to have that as an actual button. Having that as a pause button was a much better idea. I set it at high bit rate, and the file sizes 16-bit or 16 gigabytes, sorry, 2 gigabyte, which is 3 hours, 4 gigabyte, 3 hours, 16 gigabyte, 3 hours, and that is your options. And when I show you the other one, then you're going to say, maybe I'll get the other one. Watermark off, loop recording off, and that is it for that. Go back to menu. Okay. Now we're going to go into schedule recordings. And see, another thing too is that this has got an infrared remote. So I'm just going to do this. Where am we? There we go. So, okay. So I just want to show you that when I'm hitting the buttons, what we're doing here. Okay, so now I've got it here, but as you can see, I've got to put it in front of the device to get it to work. So let me just, I got to focus here. This is my downward camera focus. Time ranges, and then you can set up to 5 recordings, and you can schedule up to 5. So that's what that looks like. I'm just going to go off for a second there, and then you can also toggle that on and off. Okay, there we go. And, okay, so that's what that looks like. Now I'm going to go back, and we're going to go to system settings, and now we're in English, time, playback loop, reset no, and that tells you the version number, and photo playback because there's nothing there. So that's the menu system of the 4K Pro. Okay, so I wanted to show you that. That's what it looks like. It's not a bad menu system, but it feels a little more clunky. When you see it compared to the other one, it just feels a little more clunky. So now let's go to the other UHD 4K Pro Max menu. And I'm going to show you what that menu looks like. So the other one was the 4K Pro, and now we're going to the newer version. Okay, so this is the menu system for the new one. And right away, I'm just going to put myself in the corner. And right away, you can see there is a huge difference. They have really polished the menu system. And I like it. I like it a lot. And given the price difference between the Pro and the Max, this is a big incentive to pay a little bit more and go with the Max. Because the remote control is also Bluetooth. And that makes it so much easier to use. Like look at the system settings. I get system time, time zone. I don't even have to point the remote at the... So I'm going to just put this on for a second here just to show you. So let me just fix the focus. Okay. So if you look at it, I'm just, I'm not even pointing it at the box like I had to do with the other one. I'm just able to click it. I don't have to point it at it. It's great. That is a big deal for somebody like me, and for a lot of people that's also going to be a big deal. And it does have a pairing mode. I believe you hold down the I button for 5 seconds, and then it pairs Bluetooth, and you're done. It's great. So I'm just going to take this off for a second now because we don't need this screen. And you've got factory reset, you've got a screensaver. There is some huge differences. Hit menu again. So if I go back and record settings, You know, you can pick your MP4 format if I click on this, or TS format. So MP4 is a recording format, and TS is also a recording format. Now, TS is usually used for broadcasting and streaming. It is superior if you're using it for that purpose. However, most people will be using the MP4 format because it is more widely used. But if you're doing a lot of live streaming and broadcasting, you may want to consider this format. Now, I'm also going to go into recording resolution, because we've also got automatic. We've got 3840 by 2160, 1920 by 1080. So you've got all kinds of different resolutions, which is a little bit more, it has a little bit more options than the other one. Now, file size, here's the big one. Do you remember what the last one said? The last one said you could record up to 3 hours, either 2 gigabytes, 4 gigabytes, 16 gigabytes, and this one has unlimited. So it has the other options, but it also has unlimited. Just going to go back to me for a second. That's a big deal for a person like me, because I don't like my recording devices to break things up into chapters. So if you're going to be using one of these for YouTube, this is a perfect format in that the file will be what you want it to be. It's not going to break it up into chapters. I had action cameras that did that, and I found it very annoying because then I had to splice them all together and then edit that. So I didn't like that, and this works for me. Now, the other thing is that we also have auto stop if there's a signal loss, and you can turn that on. I like that feature because if you don't have a signal, there's no point in recording nothing. You can change your prefixes, and I like that option too. System time, you can name the suffix index. So if you wanted to put that in there, I like that as well. You know, your codec, this is your H.264, 265. You can pick the whatever one you want. I'm using 265. And then you've got your bit rate. Now I set my bit rate at 24 megabits per second. You can set it all the way up to 50. And I do need to go back to me to explain, you know, why I picked this one, not the maximum and not the minimum. So the reason why I picked that one is because there's not a lot of movement in my studio, for starters. So if you're recording something where there's a lot of movement, you're going to want to pick a higher bit rate. In other words, if I was recording anything that's fast moving, a good example would be when they test action cameras, they do it with trees and leaves, and you will see a lot of digitization, a lot of artifacting, and higher bit rates reduce that. So that's what that's all about. But because I'm recording in a studio, or if I'm recording something that doesn't have a lot of movement, then this is a good compromise. So that's why I picked 24, because 24 to me is the happy medium. It'll pick up, it'll pretty much do what it needs to do properly. If I was recording a lot of like race car races or video games, things like that, I would definitely put it at 50. I'd want it at the maximum resolution I could to make sure that everything was nice and clean. So now that we've covered that, oh yeah, there's also more options, because you've got your audio bit rate too. You can set that. I set it at 192. Why did I put it at 192? Because that is the maximum that YouTube can handle. So that's why I put it at 192. If I had to put it at 320, unnecessary for YouTube. But if I was using it maybe in a more professional setting, like maybe more of a recording studio type of setup, then I would probably put it at 320. And this is your watermark and display record while recording. So if you don't want to look at that, you don't have to. And this way it's not going to be, you don't have to look at that. You can just record something. Some people would find that annoying. If you're recording a movie or something like that, and you didn't want to look at the record symbol in the corner, you can just turn that off. So for me, I like to see that because I'm using it in a studio environment, and we like to see when we're recording. So now we're going to go to audio settings. It has a lot of audio settings. So look at the difference between this one and the other menu that I just showed you. You know, it's got your line in volume, your mic volume, your auxiliary volume. It's got everything that you need. And you can also adjust this with the remote control, which is nice. But you can do it on the menu system as well. You've got schedule recording. Look, I can add them all here. You've got all of your settings. You can add all 5 because you can handle 5, same as the other one. But the way it's laid out is a lot cleaner. You got to admit, this is a much cleaner layout. And I do need to take me off. This is playback. If I hit this, it's going to give me files. So I did a little bit of recording on certain files, and now the reason why you can see that is because I'm just going to go back down to where I recorded myself. You can see this because it's playing samples in the corner. Like, this is a much improved setup. I could not believe it. It is like night and day. The way everything's organized, the way everything functions. Now there is a little bit of hesitation when you switch. So I'm just going to click on this. Sorry. Click on this. Wrong one. Click on this. Okay, so look, here's the remote control. If I click, see how there's a bit of a delay between when it sets up. Okay, let's just doing a loop on that one because it's a very short. There we go. And that, by the way, that was feedback when it was doing that in the corner there, because if you feedback the input to output signal, it'll do that. And if you look in the where that blue line is, that also indicates where you are in the video. So you don't even have to click on the video. It'll go full screen if I click on it, but it'll play in the corner just to give you an idea. Very, very well done. Okay. All right. Click on this. And then it also has, there's still images. And we've got, you know, I took some snapshots, some new stuff. Me. Yep. There we go. You know, it's very, very, you know, and they're JPEG, just so you know. Okay. The other one doesn't have this level of organization. Audio. You can record just audio files. And that's kind of nice too. So if you just want to record music, you can. Here we go with storage. So if I click on storage, it tells me I do have a TF card installed, which is a micro SD card, and I have 115 gigabytes remaining. So this is really good. You don't see this on the other one. That's a huge improvement over the other one. When I said that the other one feels clunky by comparison, you can see what I mean by that. I do have to give ClonerAlliance a lot of credit because they're listening to what people are saying. They're getting that feedback and they're fixing a lot of the issues that people were complaining about. And, you know, the fact that this is a Bluetooth remote control, huge fix. So the one thing I want to point out is the color science that ClonerAlliance uses is very, very good. It is almost perfect. And I'm not going to say it is perfect, but it is almost perfect. A lot of other people that have tested these devices have said pretty much the same thing. And I always tell people, don't just buy something based on my videos. Watch all of the videos on that device. I don't have paid affiliate links, meaning that if you were to buy one of these devices, I don't get a commission and I don't want a commission. I do that because I want to remain neutral. But this is not a sponsored video, meaning they did not pay for the production of this video. I don't even put commercials within commercials in my video. If you watch my videos, the only commercials you see are the ones that YouTube has. There's no segues, there's none of that. I don't use Patreon. I don't ask you to buy me a coffee, none of those things. I just do videos on the product. And yes, I do accept products at no charge, but I'm not independently wealthy, so I'm doing the best I can given the circumstances. Okay, so I've hooked up the ONN box to it, and we're just going to look at the main screen. I'm just going to record the main screen. I'm not going to record anything copyrighted, and I'm going to show you what the playback is on that. And then we're going to compare that with the 4K Pro. So we're going to start off with the 4K Pro Max. So this is the Max. Unsupported content. There we go. So we got our answer right there. So everything that this box is putting out, and I'm just going to put this on here, everything that the on box is putting out, it's saying it's not going to take any of it. Okay, it looks like we got in. I'm just going to go over the procedure because it's a little more complicated. I got two different procedures, and it turns out that the second one was the one that worked. So if I go back to my home screen here, and I go back to menu, because now we're hooked into the ClonerAlliance 4K Pro Max. So under system settings, you'll go down where it says, and I'm just going to take myself off the screen, where it says firmware version. And if I click, and I'm just going to go back to me, and if I click to the right, use the right hand here, and I hold that down, it's not going to say anything. That's the weird thing, is it doesn't say anything. But then when I went back to the home screen, it worked. So that seems to be the procedure. Holding down the front buttons doesn't seem to do anything. At least it didn't on my unit. So on the other unit, it was the 264, 265 button on the face of the unit. You would hold that down for 5 seconds, and then it would say source, and then you'd be in. So, but that's the procedure. Now, I do need to remind you, this video is for educational and informational purposes only. Make sure you consult with your local laws before you start bypassing things like HDCP. I want you to be very educated before you do that. I know a lot of people are like, yeah, whatever. But I'm just saying that it's my job to let you know that this is the reason why they don't put that on there by default. Because they don't want you to get into trouble, and neither do I. So I know what I can record legally and what I can't record legally, and I certainly wouldn't distribute anything. So that is what I want to pass on to you. These are very powerful devices. So now, having said all of that, and I know you're annoyed by that, but I have to let you know, I'm going to go back to that screen and I'm going to show you that yes, we can record stuff. Okay, so now we're on the home screen of the ONN box, and the reason why I'm using the ONN box, I'm just put myself in the corner here. Okay, whoops, wrong one. No, that one. Okay, so the reason why I'm using the ONN box, this guy right here, is because it is very common. You know, they sell these things in Walmart. People want to know, hey, can I record shows off my ONN box, things like that? And the answer is, yes, you can with one of these devices, but be very, very careful. Okay, so I'm not going to record anything specific. I'm just going to go probably to one of my channels, one of my videos, because, hey, I'm allowed to record one of my own videos. And I'll just search. Let's see. So if I go ClonerAlliance UHD 4K Pro, blue collar guy, and it should pop up my video right there. And you know, these O&N boxes are very good and handy this way. I click on that, and now it's playing a commercial because I'm not signed in through my premium account. So there you go, there's your commercial. You're going to record the commercials too. And I'm also going to make sure I turn down the volume, because we do not want any volume coming through. Let me see if we can skip it. Skip. There we go. And there we go. So this is my video that I did on the UHD 4K Pro, and I'm going to record it. So I'm going to hit record, and this is what it looks like. Now we're recording a video from a video from a video. So this is what that looks like. And it wasn't too long ago that I did it. I had some crazy hair in this video. But as you can see, this is what it looks like. And now I'm going to probably stop the recording because we don't need to get a whole bunch. It's going to say saving. And then I'm going to go back. So let's just get out of here. And we're going to go back to the menu. Okay, so as you can see, here is the video, and I'm just going to click it into the big screen. This is the video that we just recorded from my YouTube video. You know, I recorded my own YouTube video, obviously for copyright reasons. This is the commercial prior to it. This is me, and this is what it looks like. If I hit the downward button, I'm just going to go up here. If I hit the downward button like this, I can click on the other video. So I can switch videos. This is another version of the same video. So if I click on these buttons here, I can switch from one video to the next. I don't have to go back to the main screen. And if I click back, then it's going to play it in a loop, just so that you can see that. Now, if I click File on here, this is the File button. Then I have to remove this one here, and I can also, I've got to remove me now. See where it says delete? I click on that. I click yes, and then I can delete the file. And that's how it's done. So that's a huge difference between that system and the other system. So it's a lot more intuitive. Now, is it perfect? No, but I don't find it nearly as clunky. And also the processor seems to be a lot more responsive in this one, as far as, you know, from one function to another. There's a very small delay, and when you're clicking from one function to another, and on the other units that I have from ClonerAlliance, there is more of a delay. And it's because the processor, you're asking the system to do a lot. So you have to think of these as little tiny computers, because when you're playing one file on your computer and then you go to click on another file, it's not instantaneous. There's a slight delay. It's not going to be that fast. So you're not just clicking from one thing to another. It's not like when you're clicking from one live stream to another live stream and you're just going back and forth really fast. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be a small delay. But on this unit here, it is very, very good. I was very impressed with it. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the procedure of when I record on the other one, because you do have to do this. Okay, so we're just going to go to the downward shot. So I've got to hook up this because it doesn't have a built-in micro SD card slot like this one does. So we're going to hook this into here. So you're going to have something protruding, which is a little different. And that's what this looks like. And then we're going to go back to the screen, which will be here. And we're going to click play on the video. I think there we go. Okay, so now I'm recording using the older model, the 4K Pro. This is the one that I did the original video on. And I'm going to just stop after a few seconds and we'll play it back. So keep in mind, you know, we've got a recording of a recording of a recording. So we'll just hit pause there and we'll go back. There we go. So this is what this looks like. And I'm going to hit stop recording. And it's going to save it. And then we're going to play it back. So then I have to go back into this menu system, which is a lot different. So I want to show you the and I have to remember that it's only an infrared remote control, so I have to make sure it's pointed at the unit. And I have my one file, and if I hit playback, then it's going to start playing back the file. And that's what this looks like. And you know, it's going to play back. So it's not bad, everything seems to be fine, but that's what that looks like. And this is what the menu system looks like. So as you can see, it doesn't go back to a different kind of screen. It's kind of a smaller screen. Again, you know, it's not as polished as the other version. So when I was originally going to do this video, I was just going to use the 4K Pro Max in different configurations. I was going to record from a PC, I was going to record from the video switcher, I was going to record from cameras, and then once I started seeing this user interface, I said, that's not the star of the show. The star of the show is the user interface and how much it's improved and how much I really fell in love with the new remote control. Is it more of a pain in the butt to do the HDCP bypass thing? Absolutely. But if it's easy, then it's too easy for people to also get into trouble. And I can see why they did what they did. So what are my final thoughts on the UHD 4K Pro Max? Is there any room for improvement? Well, I would like them to record in 4K 60, not just have it as an input, but actually be able to record in 4K 60, actually being able to record in 4K 120. So on their next generation of model, and I know that they're probably going to have newer models come out, I would like to see that. And I would also like to see a portable version of that. So they have a portable version, and I'm just going to grab it here. And it is called the Box Pro Pocket. And I love this thing too. It just records in 1080p 60. So for my use cases, this is a lot of recorder for what I need to do. The price is right. And you can even use NP batteries on the back. They even make one of these with a 7-inch screen. I don't have one of their models, but I have a similar model from another company, and they work really, really well. And I like that. I would like to see a version with this user interface on one of those. That would be really cool. So the other thing that I would like to see ClonerAlliance do, and this is just for me and guys like me, is go to standard SD cards. In other words, have a bigger slot for these type of cards because we use these in our cameras. A lot of people use these. So I would have a dual bay. So have a micro and a large one so you can use either or, and that would be really good. But I'm getting kind of nitpicky on that one. So would I recommend this device? Absolutely. I've been testing it for roughly about a month now, and I've been using it with streaming boxes, Google certified boxes, non-Google certified boxes. So if you're wondering if it works with Superbox and those kind of boxes, yes, it does. As a matter of fact, you don't have to do an HDCP bypass with those boxes because they don't send the signal through. There is no signal. So if you wanted to know about that, then you don't even have to worry about that. So I am going to demonstrate this box on my other channel, my other platform. So if you want to see that, then here's a QR code right here, and you can check that out. And that's just going to be demonstrating the maximum capabilities of this device and how it works. So if you're curious about that, then check out that video at the QR code right here. And I will demonstrate how it works with those type of streaming devices. But because I want to keep things policy safe for YouTube, then we won't be doing that on this platform. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed making it. This is a really cool device, and I hope that ClonerAlliance takes things up a notch and they take one of these devices. If they take this Pro Max and they put it in a portable 7-inch screen, that will be one heck of a device that I would like to check out, and I think a lot of people that do social media would be very interested in one of those. So if you're listening, ClonerAlliance, definitely take that and put it in your 7-inch screen, or maybe even a smaller version like the Box Pro Pocket. So if you were to take that functionality, that user interface, and put it in that with a Bluetooth remote control, I think you're going to have another winner on your hands. So take care, be safe at work, and I will see you at the next video. Bye.